Let's now welcome international law expert Dr. Yvonne Telles to deepen the analysis on Sunday's general election in Ecuador. Welcome, Dr. Yvonne, to From the South.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Luis. Good morning.
Morning, it's a pleasure to have you. Yvonne, Ecuador is voting amid a deepening security crisis, economic instability, and long-hour blackouts. How might these factors shape voter priorities and the legitimacy of the electoral process?
Well, while the first round victory remains a possibility, if one of the leading candidates obtains more than 50% of the votes or a 40% plus 10, all of these last year's crisis, we're talking about the blackouts, we're talking about security, we're talking about also about very high important judicial and constitutional issues regarding the behavior of the current government towards the institutional stability of the country that has been a growing concern between some parts of the population. That means that we might see that this can have an impact today. We have seen the polls, we've seen that those leading candidates, I'm talking about Luisa and Novoa, are expected to be heading for a runoff in April. I think that this kind of facts can have a bigger impact than we have thought of. And also, of course, the economic crisis that's showing its results from last year, lack of an adequate political work on that. So I think that that might have some surprises today.
You were referring to the economic crisis with rising inflation, debt, and poverty. Ecuadorians are demanding solutions. How do the leading candidates' economic proposals differ, and what risks or opportunities do they pose for regional trade partners like those in ALBA or Mercosur?
Of course, there's a very big difference between those two leading candidates. I think that with Luisa Gonzalez, what we can expect is this current the past tendency. I'm sorry about from Rafael Correa's government, and that is a policy on a low crime by working on social justice policies and of course major public work projects. That I think those are the two big tendencies, and that's to take a step back towards neoliberal policies such as the ones that we've been used to in the last years in Ecuador. On the other side, the expected trajectories, for example, of policy under Novoa will be in this former one, sorry, in the latter one, I'm talking about Novoa, we're likely to pursue pro-business reforms, the continuity to attract foreign investment, strengthening ties with the IMF, traditional financial organizations. And I think we are expecting the same aggressive standpoint towards fighting crime, and of course, a very tight cooperation with the US under Trump's administration. On the other side, with Gonzalez, I think will be like, or she will likely be to prioritize the reinstatement of the Correa's political order. That means to handle the political, the economic, and the security challenges more effectively. I think she would likely to emphasize on these distributive policies, state-led economic initiatives, maybe some negotiation. I think we can expect some negotiation with some violent groups, from the organized crime. And of course, as you said before, strengthen these regional alliances with more the leftist governments from the region, and maybe a deeper alignment with the BRICS.
As you were saying, Ecuador has recently pivoted between U.S. alignment and regional integration. How might these elections affect the foreign policy of the country, particularly regarding China and organizations like CELAC?
I think there's going to be there's big issues coming ahead with this election because these two leading candidates are differ completely from their policies and what they are proposing. I think that we might see a Gonzalez that will be leaning toward regional organization. Those, as I said before, those leftist governments from the region. I'm talking about Brazil, of course, Chile, Uruguay, Colombia, of course, Mexico as well. I think that there's a big risk regarding Novoa's tendency to tie um, its relationships to the U.S. And to the accustomed allies. I'm sorry, because what we are seeing right now, and we're expecting regarding Trump's administration and regarding the current tendency of this new geopolitical order that tends to be taking a new shape with this new tendency proposed by the U.S. So I think that might be very risky if we continue to follow these policies, because I think there has been no there has no, I mean, Novoa hasn't given a big consideration of what does it mean to try to be the usual ally from the Latin America with regards to the United States. I mean, there's a no, not a fair uh, game over here. And I think that to go back to those usual policies might have a very big negative impact on what we can expect from this country, for this country.
One final question, Doctor. What do you expect that will happen today during the election day?
Okay, well, there's a big expectation that everything turns out fine in terms of security. I cannot deny that, as I've seen among the voters and the population, that there was kind of a big concern of security issues. So regarding that, or disregarding that part, well, I can see that maybe we can there's a big of there's a kind of a not very trustful atmosphere in some spaces of the population regarding how these elections might turn out, because what we've seen sadly is a big tendency from the current government to try to in a way dismantle this institutional order that we've seen. So that might lead to some I don't know, discomfort regarding how the atmosphere feels regarding the how these elections are going to be taken. Uh, let's see. I think that there's a big polarized atmosphere also here. Uh, as I've seen, the other 14 candidates are not taken into account. This leads to the same kind of contest that we've seen years before, and I'm talking about the leftist parties and the right-wing parties. So I think this is the path that we'll follow. And I don't think that because of that polarized situation, we are going to see one candidate coming out from this electoral day. I think that definitely we are going to head to a runoff if the polls turn out to be as tight as we've seen in these previous results.